this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. Today in our virtual studio from different parts of the country, we are joined by a group of musicians who've written music for over 4 decades and performed on a variety of different stages around the world. They've topped the charts in many, many countries. We'd like to welcome to the Voice of America and to Border Crossings the guys in Exile. Welcome, guys.
Hey, Larry. Good morning.
Morning, Larry.
First of all, for the viewers, they can see your names, but if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
Shall we go in alphabetical order?
Yeah,
anyway,
why not?
This is, I don't know if I'm, anyway, this is Marlon. I'm the keyboard player with Exile.
I'm JP Pennington. I play guitar and sing and write.
I'm Sonny Lemaire, bass player, sing, write songs.
Great to have you guys here. Are you all based in Kentucky, or have you moved out of the state of Kentucky?
Well, we all... Go ahead, Jake.
Both.
Our original home base was in Kentucky, but only 2 of us have remained here. Actually, Marlon and Sonny live in the Nashville area and have for a lot of years. I'm still here in Lexington, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. And you were one of the original founding members, JP, I believe, back in '63 when you were a high school student.
Yep. That's correct. We put a little band together, didn't even have a name at first, and we thought we'd like to do something, put together a little combo to have something to do on weekends, to make a little pocket change and maybe meet some girls. And we didn't really achieve either of those very much. But we sort of hung with it and graduated from high school and figured out that we needed something to do for a living, and that's sort of what happened.
Now, the group's name was the Fascinations when you started. So how did you end up as Exile?
Well, it was called Ronnie and the Fascinations, and Ronnie left, and they disbanded for a little while, and we started a new band, and felt like we needed, a fresh name, and our drummer thought we should call ourselves the Exiles. The Cuban exile situation, the Bay of Pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis was all in the news in those days. And our hair was a little longer than it should have been, and especially for those times. And we sort of felt ostracized, from our local society. So we decided to call ourselves the Exiles.
And so when you first started, the sound was obviously quite different than it is today. Today, you are a country band. You're a well-recognized and accredited country music band with all the awards and albums. That I think you've had a number of top 10 albums on the country charts and whatnot, all the accolades and awards. But when you first started, Exile was not necessarily a country band.
No, we didn't really like country music then. That was something your parents liked. And that was the last thing we were about to like, But we did mostly the songs from the top 40 of the day on radio. We all liked R&B music a lot, and the R&B artists were sort of who we followed, and we tried to pick up their songs. People like Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding, and some of the other great R&B artists, and something that was danceable. We felt like if we could make people dance, then we, could keep finding work. And that's sort of how our early sound developed.
And 2020 is your 57th anniversary together. So
57 years. That's unreal.
And I know that I've heard the term America's longest running band applied to you guys.
Well, I've heard that too. I don't know if that applies. I suppose it does. Longest running self-contained band, which means band that actually plays on your own records and So I guess that's us.
So your lives changed dramatically in the 70s, the late 70s, 1978. You released what ended up being a #1 song, I believe, for 4 weeks in the United States, and there were 12 other countries where your song "Kiss You All Over" went to #1 as well. So tell me about how your life changed from what it was before that song came out to after. What's been the biggest change for you guys, you know, with the fame and the attention you've gotten?
We were literally 1 week working in a club for the door money, you know, however much money we could make. And the next week we were in Los Angeles filming the midnight special. That's how quickly things changed. And it was just kind of a blur for months, I think the guys will agree. So it literally changed our whole lives. You know, after basically starving for 15 years to try to get that point. So it was a career-making song, and frankly still is. We're very happy about that.
Yeah. Oh, that song's you know, earned you a lot of awards and attention. Country Music Association, the pop world. You know, you're called one of the most successful crossover bands in American music history as well, because you have successfully made a transition from the pop world into the country world. And so I assume that "Kiss You All Over" still gets a tremendous response every time you guys perform it.
We can play 2 bars. We can play two bars of that song, and they're there. They know it. I'm still not used to that.
Now, do you guys prefer the large festival type gatherings or the smaller club, which is, you know, easier to connect with the audience? Do you have a preference?
Well, interesting question. I think both have their place, of course, but you know, when you have an intimate theater, it certainly is easier to connect with an audience. There's a rapport that you're able to establish that's easier. But of course, you know, it has been a thrill in our career to walk out on a stage in front of, you know, 50,000 plus people at different times too. I mean, it's something that you never get used to, anything like that. But if I had my druthers, you know, I mean, I want us to be successful, whatever venue we're playing in, of course, but the theaters, I think, are where our music translates best.
Mm-hmm. You've had a couple of greatest hits albums and 12 albums out. Your last album came out a year ago called The Garage Tapes. Do you have plans for a new album? Is that in the works?
Well, you know, we have been writing, JP and I have been writing through this year, and we have already have quite a few new songs in the, you know, that we've completed. We plan on doing a full Christmas project next year. We had planned to do it this year, but the pandemic put all that on hold. But we do have a Christmas single that will be coming out, actually. But we are planning on a full Christmas project next year. JP and I have also written material for just a new Exile project, should that come about. So we're preparing ourselves for what we hope is going to be a banner year next year for us, with both a Christmas album and possibly an EP of other Exile songs, new Exile songs. So we'll see how it turns.
Now,
yeah.
So, I mean, how has the pandemic affected your lives personally? I know as a band, obviously, in this kind of crazy world we're in now, it's kind of shut us off from human contact for the most part with the fans. You can't really be on the road touring anymore. But it's also on the other side of that open up doors that now you're reaching, like, for example, today you're talking to 100 countries worldwide. And when you do virtual concerts, you know, it's limitless to who you can reach. But how has this virus affected you and changed you, if it has in any way?
Guys? Well, you know, what's certainly getting used to the, trying to adjust to the isolation, of course. Like, we're touring musicians, so you know, we're on the road a lot, and trying to adjust to being just home has been a real challenge, quite frankly. You know, but the ability to continue writing, I mean, we do interact with one another on occasion. Marlon is able to come over to my house on occasion, and you know, we do social distancing, but he comes over to the house, and so we've been able to maintain some level of our camaraderie, you know, our band family thing. But it really has been an emotional, psychological challenge to adjust to all this for me.
Yeah. You know, I think for me, you know, normally we're in a habit of touring. You come home for a few days, you know, then you pack and you go out for a few days. Well, that pattern's completely gone this year. So
yeah,
like Sonny said, you're at home all the time, and it takes a while to get used to that. Plus, just not playing. I mean, I try to make it a point to play a little bit every day at home, just to keep your chops up. So emotionally, it's kind of a challenge, you know. But I think all of us are dealing with it very well because we don't have a.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you, do you remember where you were the first time you heard Kiss You All Over on the radio?
You know, I actually don't. I was thinking about that here a while back. I really don't remember the first time I heard it.
I do. The first time I heard it, you know, as Marlon talked about just a little bit earlier, you know, prior to Kiss You All Over coming out and starting to tour on the strength of it, you know, we were starving. We were making very little money. So the drummer, Steve, and I had taken an additional job during the day on this landscaping company in Lexington, Kentucky. And he and I had been working that morning, planting trees and shrubs somewhere. And we took a lunch break. All of us took a lunch break. And somebody in the crew had a little transistor radio. And while Steve and I were sitting on the ground in the grass with our lunchbox, having a sandwich or something, somebody in the crew who had the transistor turned it on, and Kiss You All Over came on the radio. And there we are, covered in dirt. You know, and they don't know, the guys that we were working with had no idea we were in the band. And Steve and I are listening to our song on the radio for the first time. Trying not to go crazy. You know, we're trying not to call attention to ourselves, which we did. You know, we're sitting there just, you know, cannot even believe this is happening. Cannot even believe it's happening. And it was just this surreal experience, you know, of dirt poor, in the dirt, listening to your song, and things were about to change dramatically, and they did.
Mm. And I bet every time you're in a movie theater, and it's been quite a few films that have used the song, you're sitting in the dark going.
It's a cool feeling. It is a cool feeling. Yeah.
Well, it's also equally cool if this is a correct statistic. Have you guys performed on the Grand Ole Opry stage 100 times?
Yeah, a little over 100. That's 105, something like that.
Wow. That's amazing. Most people in their careers just dream of the day they can get on the Grand Ole Opry, and 100 plus.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I still get extremely nervous at the Opry. I don't know about you two, but I do. There's just something about it that you know, you want to. I guess it's all those that came before you. You know.
Oh yeah.
You want to make sure you don't mess. Now we have does someone want to tell our Opry debut story?
Sure.
Sonny, you want to go ahead?
Well, if he wants to hear it, I mean, we can definitely tell it.
Oh, I love stories. Please.
All right. We, when we had our first #1 song in country music, which was Woke Up in Love, it had gone #1 and had just released our second single. And we were asked to perform for the first time on the Opry. So we did. And it was just an amazing moment. You know, you're finally getting to perform on the most famous stage. And of course, in our dressing room was managers, agents, publicists, friends. It was a large group of people that were there to, participate in this momentous event for Exile. So we get introduced by Jim Ed Brown, introduces us, gives us glowing introduction. And we go out and we play Woke Up in Love. great reaction. And then we play our forthcoming single, I Don't Want to Be a Memory, to great applause. Come off the stage, we're just elated. And we went back in the dressing room, high-fiving one another. Everybody is so excited that it went well. And we had another show to do. You know, they were turning the audience. Well, in the midst of all this, of all the people high-fiving and celebration, our drummer, Steve, wasn't feeling well. So he left our dressing room and went out just to try to be quiet, get someplace where he could just be quiet, just calm down until he felt better. Well, nobody realized that Steve had left the dressing room. And for some reason, which we can't explain today, we don't know why, in the wisdom of Exile, you know, which we decided to change the order of our songs when we went out and played the next time. And the reason, obviously, it's so important is because both these two songs are in different feels. You know, Woke Up in Love is a shuffle, and I Don't Want to Be a Memory is just a straight 4/4. So Steve at some point comes back in the dressing room, unaware that we have made the decision to change the order of the songs. So here we go, side stage, Jim Ed Brown gives another glowing introduction. And all of us, except for Steve, are expecting to start with I Don't Want to Be a Memory, which the count off should be 1, 2, 3, 4. And instead, when Jim Ed says, ladies and gentlemen, Exile, Steve counts off Woke Up in Love, which is a shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And immediately when he counted it off, the rest of us knew something was wrong, but you know, it's real time. You start playing. So he's playing a shuffle against us playing I Don't Want to Be a Memory.
Whoa.
And, you know, we don't know why he's doing this. You know, why has he sabotaged us like this, you know? So he's yelling at me while he's playing, you know, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I'm trying to tell him, Steve, we're playing I Don't Want to Be a Memory. So this goes on. And about the time that he figures out what song we're playing, we figure out what he's playing. We switch, both of us, all of us. So the four of us switch to Woke Up in Love. He switches to I Don't Want to Be a Memory. That goes on. And the crowd, I mean, I'm looking out in the audience and I see JP's wife in the audience looking at us like, what is wrong with you guys, you know? So finally JP says, you know, counts off, I think, Woke Up in Love. We play that song. We finish the song, go back in our dressing room. I mean, we're mad beyond, you know, boiling over at Steve. And we're yelling at him. He's yelling at us because you know, we can't figure out, why did you do this? And of course, we figured out after everybody calmed down what had happened. And it has become our Opry train wreck story.
Right.
And after that performance, we weren't asked back until we regrouped in 2008. We were not asked back on the Opry. And, but now we are. And I remember the first time we played the Opry after all that, when we walked out on stage, everybody looked at one another and said, now we know what we're playing, right? Everybody knows what we're starting with. And anyway, it was a great story, but you know, it was horrifying in the moment.
Oh yeah. You hear stories of artists forgetting the lyrics all the time, you know, and changing lyrics and things, but that's kind of, that exposes you. You can fumble and mumble lyrics, but you can't change the tempo of a song. No. And,
you know, there wasn't something low enough I could crawl under if I could, you know, at the time. You know.
So, okay, you've given me what could be considered the lowest memory for the band. Yeah. What would be the highest memory for each of you from the last number of decades?
Guys?
Well,
go ahead, JP.
I guess for me, you know, we had, of course, we had Kiss You All Over, which was wonderful. It changed our lives immensely. But after Kiss You All Over, we had a really hard time at radio having any follow-up success domestically. I mean, we were doing well in other parts of the world, but that really wasn't doing us a whole lot of good because we wanted to succeed here because we lived here and had families here. But you know, and then we disbanded the whole pop idea and went country, which took about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
but we managed to have our first #1 country song, first country hit, which was like Sonny said, was "Woke Up in Love." And we had, leading up to all that, we had released so many singles for so many years, with such lack of success that, I mean, personally, I became sort of a negative thinker about releasing anything to radio. But when we released I Don't Want to Be a Memory, which was the follow-up to Kiss You All Over, and it became #1, that was the moment for me that sort of was validation that we, you know, maybe we're on to something here, you know.
Yeah.
I think for me that was it.
Yeah, interesting. Marlon?
Okay. For me, when we played the Tonight Show, that was the highlight of for me. Because back then, the Tonight Show, that was the ultimate TV experience. And I remember when we were on there, everybody was there that night. Johnny and Ed and Doc and everyone. And I remember we were playing the song Super Love. I remember looking over and seeing Johnny Carson watching us and tapping a pencil along and smiling. And for some reason, I guess from watching the show for decades, that was just a really illuminating and highlight moment in my career as far as I'm concerned, among a lot of others.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Sonny, how about you?
Well, you know, I'm going to go back to the Opry for a second. When we got back together, we were one of the times, again, it was near Christmas, and the Opry changes from the Grand Ole Opry back to the Ryman for the Grand Ole Opry during that period of time. And we were at the Ryman, on the Ryman stage, and it was about maybe a week or 2 weeks before Christmas. And we've done a song for years in our show, a cover, one of the few covers that we do, called People Get Ready. And it's more of an a cappella thing that we do. And we were standing on that stage, it was before Christmas, and it was a full moon shining through the stained glass of the Opry, coming, you know, shining down on the stage. And we were singing that song. And I guess it was just the culmination of all we had been through, all the years, and something about that event and that moment. And it was overwhelming to me. It really was. And I had tears in my eyes just from the performance and thinking about everything. It was just an amazing experience, you know, like Marlon said, and we've been blessed with so many, really, you know, but it was just, it was pretty overwhelming for me.
Yeah, and we got the order of the songs right, too.
Yeah, we did.
And you guys have performed for the military. We're also broadcasting to the military, and I know you've performed around the world in many different countries. Do you have a favorite country that you'd like to perform in?
Wow.
Well, to me, the United States, obvious. I mean, that's obvious. England, and when we were we've done some stuff in England. That was very enjoyable to be in England and London, and you know, with all the history.
We've done we've done South Africa a couple times, Japan, Switzerland.
Yeah. Switzerland.
It's all been great just to visit, you know, other cultures and see how they do things.
Yeah, because you were #1 several times in like New Zealand, big following.
Sure.
You mentioned Africa, South Africa, big following.
Yeah. Personally, I want to say that regarding the military, you know, our Exile family has fathers and uncles and cousins that have served in all branches of the armed forces, you know, Army, Navy, Air Force, even Coast Guard, Marines. And it's one of the things that we carry with us that we're extremely proud of. You know, I mean, I say personally because my father was a career Army, and as were a lot of my uncles and cousins. And it means a great deal to us to honor them when we perform on stage. So I just want to say, you know, to all the military, the folks that are serving right now, overseas and even domestically, and I say this humbly, from all of us, you know, thank you for your service, because it means a great deal to us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for your time, for being with us. If the fans around the world want to connect with you or keep up on what's going on,
Yeah.
where do they go?
Marlon.
Well, we have a website, and that website is exile.biz, B-I-Z. But if you want to follow us on a more daily basis, we have a really good Facebook page, and we post stuff there almost daily. And that's called Exile Band Official is our official Facebook page. So between those two things and some other media outlets, I think we maybe have an Instagram.
We do.
Which I don't know too much about, but Facebook and our website, you can follow us and keep up with what's going on and what's going to be going on.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, when you come to Washington, D.C. in the future, and hopefully our studios are open again, I invite you guys to come in and perform and join us again on the Voice of America. We'd love to have you back.
Thank you. We'd love to. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you guys so much. The music's great. The band is great. Exile joining us today here on the Voice of America. My name's Larry London. Thanks for watching.